talked about some fatherhood stuff tonight. Earlier today, before the show, you were talking about how it seems like this generation is getting dumber with some of the things that's said and how
Yeah.
things are said. And I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's a societal thing, but it did inspire me to bring this to the parliament. Bring this to the parliament. If you would like to join the parliament, it is patreon.com/wise__nerdy. And you too can be, and the Discord's free. And actually it's Linktree/wise_and_nerdy. You can get into the Discord, become part of the parliament. You can, pledge. You can buy our votes, if you will. You can buy our political loyalty in the parliament by joining up at the Patreon. But to the parliament, I ask, how are you making choices, or what choices are you making to raise kids in this era, this age that we live in?
That's a big question. That's not like a little, yes, let me give you my 3 points that I'm working with today.
But it can, it's this, we can keep it still kind of surface. So,
Sure.
Well, we talked about time and place of swearing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I push my kids without them really knowing the words to be professional all the time, and they can interact with adults on a higher level. And I don't like embarrass somebody, but if we go out to, well, one of the examples you gave, you go to like a coffee shop and you put Steven on there and they go, Stefan, so
bad.
Whatever. I'd be like, I'd pull my kid aside, be like, learn how to speak. Learn how to, when somebody says their name, listen to how they say it. Ask how they say it. And I always get acknowledged because I say names fairly correctly most of the time, and they can be complicated names, but I've learned how to phonetically break things down, understand, well, that looks kind of German, so there might be this kind of inflection. And because people want their name. And honestly, Steven, you do perform somewhat for a living. You and I know you do this at Dragon Con when you go to moderate, you go, what's your name? How do you say it? For me, I have to get them to say it 3-4 times. But I'll sit there. I have no ego. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this right. Say it again. And I'll repeat it back because it's just a practice, like a joke or a song note or whatever. So that's something I teach my kids is, well, when somebody's stupid, we're going to point out why they're stupid so you can learn, but not embarrass them, but quietly point out that you can learn to do different.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Wait a second. Charles is talking about correct pronunciation. I can't say it now. What's in the Twilight Zone going here? Names. When I'm actually trying to do it for a living, I will never call Pokemon names correctly if I can help it. It's the way it goes.
The name thing's so important, dude. Like so you mentioned I do I do podcast-ish hosting stuff for work, right? And we have an international team of people everywhere. And so when we're going to highlight somebody as like a contributor that we want to highlight for the week or our demo days or whatever, we have this big thing. Tell us a fun fact about you, how long you've been at the company, your name, all that stuff. And in that form, because I have to pronounce it, I made that form specifically with a phonetic pronunciation of your name field. And they have to fill it out. It's required. Nice. I don't care if your name is Jacob. Like, and there have been people like, it's pronounced how it looks. I'm like, no. I need you to pronounce this. I need you to tell me. And sure enough, there have been ones where I would have totally got it wrong. Like there was one dude, it looked like Michael, but it was pronounced Meikle. Like that was, it looked like those are the things that will get you. And the last thing I want to do is to disrespect somebody by getting their name wrong. That's incredible. That's basic, important human interaction to me. Is getting somebody's name wrong because I know how I feel when people get my name wrong. I'm irritated in an unreasonable way when Taco Bell says Stefan or when first time it ever happened to me. I ordered a sandwich at Firehouse Subs and I was like, my name's Steven with a PH and they wrote it down, with a PH. The person at the cashier evidently knew that that's some people spell their name that way. Got to the end, dude goes, Stefan? And I said, oh, it's pronounced Steven. He goes, well, it's spelled Stefan. I was like, not only did you get it wrong, you just argued with me about it over my name. I was furious. I fussed for way longer than I should have. Like, I had a real struggle with forgiveness that day.
Everybody trying to picture this, just picture the Taco Bell dog trying to jump on the counter. That's Steven mad.
I was so mad because I'm just like, it's okay if you got it wrong. That's fine. but don't argue with me about it. Like, don't tell me I'm wrong. It's not okay.
Pronounced Stefan. It's not written
No.
Stefan. That'd be Stephan.
Yes.
Stefan or Stefan.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, I had a kid go to my ENT school, and then I won't come back to this, that skit. You done messed up, Aaron.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And random kid, you're right. There's power in a name. And when you know somebody does it intentionally, that's, them trying to take power. Mm-hmm. But I had this kid go to my EMT school, and I'm going to just put in the first name right here in chat so we can all see it, and I'll pop it on the screen. How do you pronounce that?
I would pronounce that Chiron.
Exactly. In the English, like Kyrone, like Tyrone, but with a K. And in the English language and most other languages in the world, that KY is a hard K, whatever. And ONE. One. So super, I learned that my word girl, super vowels and all that jazz. Yeah. So I was like, all right, Chiron, because it's Chiron. I mean, I don't normally do this with people, but yeah, no, it's not. Not at all, dude. Not you. Did you? What country did you come from? He goes, America. So what about your parents? America. Well, then that is not Chiron, my friend. You put an E on it. You want it to be Chiron? You don't put an E on it. Kyron. Chiron all day long. I got you, boo boo, but not Chiron. And he's like, well, my mama said, like, and of course he was having fun with it. It's like, well, your mama's an idiot, so you better do good in this school so you can help her get an education. You
were that guy. You were that guy. You were the Firehouse Subs guy. I will argue with you. Well, okay.
I did, but you would have been laughing. I would have argued with you. It's like, well, it's spelled Jacob, but I tried to get it close to your name, sir.
Different, and that's a different interaction. That's a whole different vibe. Right. It's not the guy at Firehouse telling you pronounce your name incorrectly for the last 37 years or whatever. Like that's. But you make a good point, though. I do the same thing with Sam. If I see something that I think is not good behavior, I'll point it out to him. I use other people as an example. Like, I've been at stores before where there's a total lack of effort being given on some task. And I'll just look at him like, Sam, to succeed in this world, you don't even have to try that hard. You just have to try harder than them. And that's not a high bar. You know what I mean? And I will tell him. Like, I was talking to my buddy Jacob about it. I said, I'm convinced that your education is important, but your ability to work a room and talk to people is like 85% of your success. Like, because I feel like I stumbled into where I am for the most part, being like the nice guy who would work hard and do the job and put the effort in. Sure. But I think the kindness got me.
Effort matters.
Yeah, the effort mattered a lot. I'm not a quitter. I'd learn stuff and I work, but like, the kindness helped a lot. I know smart people who are buttholes that didn't get as far as fast, Yeah. And so I try to teach him, like, if you just be cool, because if you can work a room, it almost helps everything else you're doing. Like, the ability to interact and work a room with people will kind of, part of that is doing a job well. You know what I mean? It is putting the toilet paper on top of the freezers at CVS because you were told to, and doing it now. Like, it's not that hard. Just make it happen. So yeah, I use other people as examples all the time.
Yeah.
Of what not to do. And what to do.
Random kids telling the names. The Midwesties love spelling names in weird ways. There's that football player named the Coldest Wand.
Dude, that's that kid Phil sketch with Jaquarius Jaquarion.
Yeah.
Galfalatrix Munkadushu.
Honestly, I have seen some names of people. The one I hated the most on behalf of this guy. And again, I find some names interesting, and it's a good conversation starter. And I don't interact with the help. When I go to a restaurant, just serve me. But in this case, he came up and his name was Jaycn. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. How do you pronounce that? He went. He got all the feet. He's like, Jason. I'm like, well, you're tippies. They hate you. What is it? Like, I don't know, man. I was like, I get it, dude. I'm not making. I thought it was gonna be like Jaycn or something interesting with a story behind it. But when you say Jason, you hear Jason. Why spell it differently just because? Nobody's going to get, then they're going to ask you how do you, yeah.
You're never going to find the pocket knife at the gift shop with your name on it.
Yeah. Never. But you're talking about working harder. I use a little different, more aggressive words, but I've instituted in my kids, you're better than everybody else until you're not.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Just accept that. Just accept, because you've been raised to have culture. You've had experiences. We push you in hard ways. You're going to be better at things than other people, but that's okay. You need to accept that about yourself. Don't ever. Dude, you want to talk about something that gets me rage fast? And I've learned to temper it and to not. I mean, I still get instant, very disappointed because my son did it at a party the other night. When my smart kids, and all four of them are smart, they play stupid. They choose stupid. And even as a joke, I just hate it with a passion. And I just will never want to interact with them when they're doing that, because like, you're smart, own that you're smart. Oh, because, for my entire life, I had to hide well, not entire, but a lot of my childhood and teenage years and college had to hide who I was. Just own that if you can just become okay with you're better than most people you interact with.
Yeah.
Then that lets you bring them up and entertain and have. There's nothing wrong with. Yeah, I say this. I say this. My kids don't judge. Well, we listen, and sometimes we do judge. So I tell my kids, like, it's okay to hang out with stupid people. That could be most of the people you hang out with, but just enjoy them for who they are. And I mean, look, I hang out with Phil, and that's just my Help for the Handicap thing that he Make-A-Wish Foundation. But it makes him happy, and I enjoy hanging out with the kiddo there. He's cool.
Don't lower yourself, but don't be a know-it-all around everybody. You don't have to. You don't have to actually everybody to death. You can just let people enjoy a conversation for what it is. But yeah, and this goes back to the whole authenticity thing. Be who you are. Let them be who they are. And if you don't jive or you find yourself being pulled down, that's what I think is a big thing to be wary of. Am I being pulled down by the people I'm around? Because you are the people you run with. That's a well-known thing. Like the five people that are closest to you, that's who you are. And if that's not who you want to be, find a way out of that situation. Find a different room to get into. Because but I think you could totally be smart. Be the bright kid. Just don't you don't have to flaunt it, but don't put yourself down and act. I knew some people that acted stupid, and it drove me bonkers. So if my kid's like pleading ignorance, I'm like, you know how to do that. I've seen you do it. Like, don't mess with me. Be proud of what you know. Like, I know how to wire this, or I can, for little kids, like simple stuff, I can plug in my own Xbox. Like, great. That's something to be proud of, because there's another kid that can't. And he's asking his dad, and you're doing it by yourself. Be proud of that. Yeah,
exactly. I pride in your achievements. And we've used things like, oh, you messed up now because you just showed us, you listened to us, and you can do the thing that you pretended not to do. So guess what? That's the bar, bud. It's been set now. And then the kindness. Now, both of the things, owning your smartness, but also making room for others. That's that part of don't actually people that random kids spelled it correctly. Actually,
spelled it exactly how it's spelled.
ACKSUALLY. That's how it's pronounced right there. He does say playing stupid at work and voice responsibility. I hate that one, but I'll take the second part of your sentence. The second part of the sentence is keeping your mouth shut helps you avoid assignments. Absolutely. Just because you can't. That's the other thing I told him. Just because you can doesn't mean you need to. It's also part of making room for others, because if you always do, there's nobody else who can try. And then you'll get frustrated. Good.
Yeah, and to add on to that, doing too much and being the guy for everything can make you irreplaceable. And if you can't be replaced, you can't be promoted. Don't forget that. that's then also you feel
guilty when you leave to go somewhere else that will promote you, because now you've left them in the I know, right?
Yeah, and they're going to call you. They're going to do it. They're going to say, hey, man, we couldn't figure this out. Can you help us for a second? And you're going to have to say no. I did that. I literally said, it's been 6 months since I left that job. I love you guys. I can't do it. Yeah, they called me 6 months later. hey, could you walk us through this? We'll pay you contractor money. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm in a new place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you needed this, you should have called me a week after I left during my, like, you know, transitional time. But I'm out now because I will help a little. If I know something, I'm not going to hold it back just to hold it back.
Ooh.
But at that point, I'd forgotten so much. I'm like, you out luck, buddy.
We're talking
back.
Right. We're talking a lot about basically kind of self-value, knowing how to value what you do, who you are, what you bring to the table. And that's something we've got. And that's the other thing too. We live very out loud in my house. And so if something goes on with one of the kids, we use it as an example for all the kids. Hey, pay attention to what your sister's doing. This is what's bad. This is what's good or whatever. And specifically with my oldest daughter, she has been that outgoing one to try this club, to try this thing at school, to try this thing, try this thing. And I kept pointing out to her, you're doing great. Only be a part of this until you outrun them, because they're not valuing you at all. So only get what you can get out of this. And at first, you know, as a 8, 9, 10-year-old, she was like, whatever, I like people. But as she got older, into the 12, 14, 16, about 16, it really, 15, 16, really started to click of value. And at 15, she got a job at this little pizza shop. And within a couple of weeks, the owner were like giving her keys to run the place. Like, no. Said, you don't have any experience to understand the work world you're going in. What you are is mature, and you're my kid, and you've been put together well, and you know how to handle business to a certain extent. But you are not closing that store in a neighborhood that tends to get robbed. Yeah. That's not, because you will not see it coming. That's not a thing. This guy's an idiot, and I'm about to go tell him he's an idiot for handing a 15-year-old keys to the building. Yeah. But so she's picked up on that value. And then when I do hear, when somebody goes, I said, value is not that they have to take your ideas, but at least they acknowledge it and say, that's a great thing, but we're going in this direction for this way, or we'll take part of it. And she finally found a group that did that for a couple of years, and it's helped her grow. Yeah. And now she's leaving them because they have digressed into a thing that doesn't listen, and the value is not there anymore. And that I think in every era, and it's just getting louder and louder today as we enter 2025 with all the mouthpieces on social media and TV and YouTube everywhere, that we have to understand, does it really matter to you? I mean, I'll be bluntly honest. Does the war in Ukraine and Russia matter to me? Well, I don't like bullies. But other than that, no, because it's not affecting my daily life. I'm not going to let the negativity of any of it wear me down.
There's a place to show concern. There's a place to donate to causes that you believe in, that matter to you. But I don't need to change emojis on my Twitter to tell everyone else how I feel all the time. That's not my brand. I'm not a political firebrand who's going to tell everybody who to be or whatever. I'm just out there to have a good time. I want you to know that you're loved and cared about by somebody, and we're all in this, trying to go from day to day. And I have limited my news. I've limited the engagement in those kinds of things like you're talking about. I can't do anything about exploding cars. I can't do anything about, all I can do is, tell people what I'm, if they ask, like, I do not like that. But that's all. Other than that, man, I got to feed my kid. I got to take care of my wife. I got to do this. I got to take care of my neighbors around me where I can make an impact. People have babies. I can go take them dinner. People have life troubles. Grandma's having an issue. I can go mow their lawn. Those are areas. And if everyone just worked in their own little 1 square mile, helping out folks around them, like that's how this should be working. You can't do anything about what happened in Las Vegas. There's a whole lot we could go in. That's a whole different show. You done triggered me, Charles.
I know. You know what?
Take care of your corner. You know what I mean? And everybody take care of their corner, and the people around them will be all right.